Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat
Minute! Greetings once more, citizens of Gotham. Welcome to Bat Minute and Robin, the show that is gonna make it no matter what you say. I am your host, John Parker.
And I am the cold host.
Oh.
Yeah, it's me, Niall McGowan. Brackets, I wish I was the cold host. It is so freaking hot.
But Niall, lately, you've been cold to me. when it comes to the bedroom.
Yeah. To be fair, John, it's a cold town.
Oh, God.
And that context makes as much sense as it does in this goddamn minute.
Let's talk about that. If we're going to dive into that first. That's not a saying.
I have so much beef against that line.
It is not a saying. As you can hear, there we are joined once again by Jonathan Howell and Robin Burdge. Hello.
Howdy. Hello. And speaking of screwed, the henchmen.
Oh, these guys. They're not in for a good time.
Yeah.
I love that they say, why did they say we're not going to make it before they jump and don't do anything about it?
They don't stop. They don't put the brakes on. No.
I'm going to die the way I live. One quarter missile at a time.
1/4 finger?
Finger, yeah.
Yeah.
One knuckle at a time.
Their problem is they don't go off the middle finger, which is stretched further.
As we all know.
Yeah. I do feel like when Batman goes off that middle finger, it's almost emphasizing to Robin, though, of just like, screw you, buddy.
Look what I can do.
It is. It's rubbing it in Robin's face, isn't it? Like, you are a piece of crap. Who are you, Robin? You're some stupid orphan I've taken in.
I actually feel, because now we have to watch it 1 minute at a time, I grew to know, maybe even love, the cackling goon from the previous minute who was listening to that, to whatever.
Which one? The one with the mask?
Yeah, the one with the mask. And then when he actually hears the whole, like, we're not going to make it, there's a little look of devastation. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a guy who knows, like, I'm about to die. Like, this is...
That's deep, Niall. Jesus Christ.
This guy, he's followed Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze isn't a good employer. We saw how miserable they were in his hideout and stuff, sitting freezing their asses off, watching Rankin Bass and stuff. So this really is like, I've wasted my life. Like, this is what it all was coming to. I thought I had so many years left, and now I've driven off a giant hand because I was following some asshole, and I'm going to die.
The last thing I'm going to see is this water power Gotham sign.
If you were about to go into a car wreck, do you cover your eyes with both arms like both of them do?
Oh, that's an interesting question. The only time I was it didn't actually happen. I was nearly in a car wreck. I didn't, because it was such a shock and such a quick thing that I was just like, did that just happen?
I've never been in a wreck where I've hit someone, but someone drove into me like at full speed from behind, and I saw it coming and literally just went, ugh! Like I just seized up. I didn't, nothing.
Shields.
Shields.
Yeah.
I did nothing. So there's never any time to.
It has been shown in this like, as we've gone along, it seems as if Mr. Freeze is the most callous towards his henchmen, because like
even more than Two-Face was last season.
Or even freaking like Oswald Cobblepot seemed that like they were like his family. He shot one of them, but like the rest of them, he had a really
I agree, but Two-Face was pretty callous now.
Yeah. But again, Mr. Freeze is like, it seems to be an absolute active misery to work for this man. So it's
it's because they're not genetically modified to cold, so they're like, this sucks. They're always over there freezing. in the ice truck, in the ice cream.
They do have in like the 60s TV show, like the George Sanders, the Shere Khan, Mr. Freeze. He would always modify his hideout so there would be little hot spots for his goons could hang out and stuff, and he'd make a little corridor so they could walk down to him and stuff. This Mr. Freeze is like, oh, you can guys go yourselves. There's no way. You're all adapting to me, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah, it's a cold town.
Also, it's a cold town.
Oh,
I've never been in an ice cream factory. I'm pretty sure they're just not freezing cold all over.
No,
Right?
I've been on the Ben and Jerry's tour a couple times, and yes, there are warm corridors to walk through. You look through the glass and you see all the ice cream being made. But
Oh, wow.
Right.
Oh my god!
But are the people making the ice cream also freezing cold?
I didn't ask.
They have icicles coming off their mustaches.
That's the thing too that I've been worried about, like in writing the outros. It's like, only so many words for ice and snow and stuff. Forgot about all those Ben and Jerry flavors. I can just work those in.
Me to send you over a list.
But
the goons have lost faith, as we talked about. We're not going to make it. You know, come on, guys, you've got to believe.
they've got they were not worthy. It's just mediocre, as a Morton Joe would say.
Mediocre.
But
They chose
we'll say though,
wisely.
not mediocre. I have to say this is a friggin'. I think this personally is a fantastic shot though. Robin's bike skidding up to the edge of the finger, him jumping off, and the Batmobile zooming up into the air.
And
beside
then him just going, "Roar!" He doesn't go, no. He goes, "Roar!"
Oh, it's a teenage anguished roar. Yeah,
He's so old. Like is he like 30 in this? Like, come on.
I think he's like
No,
28.
he's 17. What are you
He
talking
acts
about?
so obnoxious just because of the age that he seems to be, and he's acting like a teenager. It would be so better if he actually got a real teenager in this part.
Yeah, he's clearly written as being 17, 18.
So we've all, because obviously because we have had Batman Forever was also the same thing of like, oh, this 42-year-old man is playing it as 17.
He gets older every time we talk
I don't
about
think
him.
we've ever questioned the idea that if Chris O'Donnell was ever like, oh yeah, this writing's awful for me. Like, whether he was just like, I guess I got to do it. But,
I don't think Chris O'Donnell cares.
yeah, but it could be that he's just like, because
Look at his career. He's. I just recently rewatched The Three Musketeers, and I'm like, that movie is not good, but it's still good. Like I remember being thoroughly entertained by Disney's Three Musketeers,
Great song.
starring such Frenchmen as Kiefer Sutherland,
Oliver Platt.
Charlie Sheen,
Very French.
very French, and what's his face as Richelieu.
Is that Tim?
Tim
Curry?
Tim
Yeah.
Curry. Sorry, Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins. That would have been cool too, actually.
I thought you said Tim Roth, which was equally as peculiar.
I think I can
No,
imagine
well-
Tim Roth in the Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah, Tim Roth could have been the guy with one eye, the patch guy, the gravelly voiced guy from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's in it too.
But because Chris O'Donnell he just nabbed himself an NCIS role, so he's just like, that's me.
Yeah.
Never
Yep,
did
he's
do.
like, I'm gonna live with it forever. And he was like, I'll be on the show with LL Cool J until they cancel me.
It's just there's a thing of just like, yep, this show will never be canceled. I have now got career longevity for the rest of my life.
Well, that's
Yeah,
why the same thing happens here in England, doesn't it? That's why a lot of these people end up in soap operas. Because if you can get a gig on our soap opera Coronation Street, it might be a piece of crap, but you're making money every week.
Right.
What is your favorite Chris O'Donnell film?
This one.
Really?
If they had the caveat of like non-Batman ones, it's like
It's not. No, it's not.
Vertical Limit.
Yes, thank you. Mine would be Vertical Limit.
That
Mine
is a
would be
good one.
Vertical Limit.
Although, again, in talking about things that I think are good, that shot of Robin jumping off the bike, and then even like the roar of frustration, I do distinctly remember that in the build-up to the movie coming out as being part of the Smashing Pumpkins video, because it made it look really dark and moody. And because that song's very dark and moody, it was just like, oh, this movie's gonna be hardcore. And then you see, but yeah, it just had that thing though of like, oh, like this song clearly fits tonally in with the film 100%. And why would that one clip of Robin looking clearly quite anguished not be the most like dark metal kind of thing that's gonna be coming instead of a 32-year-old man having a temper tantrum?
Despite all Robin's rage.
Oh.
Just FYI, Robert Wool is only $89 on Cameo. Just so you know. Just so you know.
$89. Oh, he's done
We've
that
looked it up.
deliberately.
Nine.
$89. Oh my god.
Well, he's been
Come
on the CW, so I think he's reachable.
He was
He knows
almost
what
on
he's
the
doing.
show. He agreed to come on,
Oh,
and then
really?
he just stopped replying. Yeah,
Yeah,
back in
yeah.
season
Well,
one.
I don't want to insult him.
I do. I have the horrible feeling that because when we started the show, it was under the impression that like no one famous was ever going to want to come on, because it was like, who would want to come on? And so we were just laying into Knox, not the actor, but taking
We
the
were
piss out of him.
jokingly laying into it.
Yeah, we were having fun with Knox the character, and so I think when he responded to the tweets and stuff, and he was like 100%, I'll definitely be on. He hadn't listened to the show,
Of course not.
and then I think he probably maybe listen to an episode and they're like, oh, these guys are just making fun of Knox the whole time.
Also, the fact that you don't talk about Arliss ever on your episode, you're not really giving Robert Wool his due.
You know what? I think we should hit him up for a bonus episode now.
I think one person this is going very, very off topic, but you know that lady who, the newscaster who dies during the news report, she's the other person you see with the Joker smile. She liked one of our tweets randomly a couple of weeks ago. I was like, maybe we can fucking
You could easily get her. I'm sure.
So now I'm thinking that might be a bonus episode. Getting like,
you can get Billy D. Williams. He'll just mispronounce stuff, but he'll be on.
I genuinely think Billy D. Williams is the kind of person.
His cameo is expensive, just so you know. I think we looked it up the other day.
He's not theming it around the fact that he was in Batman at 80 or Batman 89. It's like, oh, it's a perfect. He'd be like Star Wars, like $1,980 or something. So the Mr. Freeze's truck somehow makes it across, even though
with a lot of extra room.
How? Surely it weighs an absolute ton.
Plus,
right?
when you saw it going down the arm, it was kind of trundling along. It didn't look like it had a lot of momentum. It just seemed like it was like kind of like a real kind of crappy truck just like hopping along a road. Like it didn't seem like, oh, this thing's primed to go across a vast crevasse, you know?
Jonathan, I mean, do you want me to answer this question or do you think you have this?
What?
It's definitely Nos, right?
It's Nos.
He says Nos.
Yeah. Nos!
My God, it is. It's Nos.
They both use Nos. Yeah.
Although then he doesn't give Nos to his fellow drivers there. It's like, nah, those guys, screw them.
No.
I love the way those goons die. They go flying into a sign in a building, respectively.
I like that in theory, Batman actually also didn't make it across. If you've noticed, his car gets frozen in his car, and he takes he hits the ejector seat and kind of flies the rest of the way. His car did make it. It's just frozen.
Yeah. Although again, now that's encased in something white, looks even more like that toy that I was talking about.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, when those goons go flying into the building, and there's a sudden explosion, I'm suspicious, right? Car fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
We know this.
Google it, people. Google it. Small change.
I'm also like, now I'm a bit worried because I think that's in Mr. Freeze's entire workforce as well. Like all those goons would have to pack into those two cars. They're all dead. He's a man by himself now.
It's
so
one
he says
guy,
his line.
But,
he says his line. The city is a cold city. The city is cold.
Oh no, it's a cold town.
It's a cold town.
It's cold town.
Just,
what a bad line. That's just
what?
It's like you go through. It's like that is in the script. Like that's not like we need him to say something, so just Arnie improvise something. That is a thing that they had the time to change, and nobody went like, let's pep that up.
Yeah,
like let's make it so it's an actual joke at least, because it's a cold town means nothing.
Is it supposed to be like alluding to previous movies where we had the Joker saying it's a hot time in the cold town.
It'll be a hot
tonight.
time in the old town tonight.
This was one of those moments that I've been waiting on this whole week. What would your catchphrase have been for this? Is there a better, like kind of like the Smoking the Bandit when they used to have those gag reels where they just would sit there and just whip out different.
What I would have done is that. Much like one of his goons was playing a podcast, Mr. Freeze should be listening to the Pogues, and it should be playing "Dirty Old Town," and he's just going "Dirty Cold Town," like singing along.
Dirty Cold Town.
Okay, that's not bad. But what would you say? Like, what would be the you're shooting a ray at his car as he jumps over a statue? What would be your yeah.
I don't know, just like there's a cold front coming, and
I hope you have a coat because it's chilly outside.
No, he's got to mention how awesome the move is, right? He's got to be like, I don't know, time to get cool.
Time to get that saying. Time to get cool. Hey guys, it's time to get cool.
You've got to do a mangled version of English.
Or just even
right?
like hello snowflake, and then he literally turns him into a snowflake.
Oh, that's very modern. Yeah,
that's
snowflake.
Good.
He's listening to Joe Rogan himself.
You're always an ice hole. How about that one?
Oh yeah. There's literally
see you
anything.
later, ice hole.
Ice hole.
Literally anything would be better than "It's a Cold Town" because it means nothing. Like it's
No.
I think, as you alluded to, John, the thing is, it could have been, and it's once again, it's almost Joel Schumacher like throwing up on the legacy because you had 89, like, oh, there'll be a hot time and the old town. Then Batman Returns. Selena Kyle says to Bruce Wayne at one point, like, it's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight. And then, as I recall, in Batman Forever, in the script, Akiva Goldsman wrote in a very bizarre manner when the Riddler's, destroying the Batcave. He put like Riddler brackets Jack's favorite line. There's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight. Who said that? Someone used to say that. And then I remember last season we were like, that wasn't Jack Nicholson's favorite line. He said it once. And Michelle Pfeiffer also said it. So like, what the hell are you talking about? And now here it is. The prime opportunity to say it'll be a cold time on the hot town tonight, which is the obvious way to go. If you continued the joke through the 4 movies, it's right there for you, and they just didn't do it. And it's like
this bookends the minutes that we had from the beginning with Commissioner Gordon literally losing. You can watch his soul leave his body as he acts in the first we watched on Monday. This scene also, they're just like, we got an hour left. It's a wrap. Let's just, okay, what do you want to do? Have him say the line, and then we're going to lay him on the ground, and we're going to put Batman over him, and then Batman's going to spread his wings like, ta-da, did it. And you're like, wait,
How
what?
did that get from one to the other? Yeah.
It's so weird that they built this thing up so big. That was a lot of extra work for that's how you took him down at the end.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's almost though, because we'll get to it in a minute, but like the bizarre shot of Freeze lying with his eyes open as if he's dead at Batman's feet.
Because he can't lay down. That suit doesn't lay down flat. It's like at an angle.
But they say it's the fact that his eyes are open. It makes him. It looks as if Arnie's there with his eyes wide open, very awkwardly, as if the soul has left his body. He had to say it's a cold town, and he's like, "This is too bad, even for me." And he just like the last bit of like enthusiasm drained out of his body.
Maybe he can't close his eyes with those contacts in.
Oh, it actually might have been a legit practical reason as to why he's like that.
You know what? Well, I need to bring that up in a second, but first, I have another thing. There's one good thing that happens just before that I think is sorely lacking, right? We get some awesome cape gliding action. Batman ejects from the car as it's frozen, and we see him flying on that cape, which I think these movies have lacked.
This is because you got it in Batman Returns. You obviously had the big scene of, and we actually speculated earlier in the movie when Mr. Freeze had his wings that he might have got inspiration from Batman swooping over the citizens of Gotham in Batman Returns with his glider.
It's very minimal.
But the thing is, like, this is almost like we've had an ongoing tally of known hack Chris Nolan and things he's actually swiped from other Batman movies. Yeah, this is 100% the friggin' Christian Bale glider. It's right there. It's the same.
But did you notice that it doesn't go rigid? Like in the shot from above, his cape does not go rigid. Ooh. It just. Look at it, and then when he flies in, it also is not rigid. It's only rigid at the end when he's doing that like bat pose over him.
His T-pose.
It's very flappy. Like they didn't even have it in their minds. They're like, yeah, he needs a way. Like Batman needs a way to glide.
Although actually, really, I think in the you guys are both in it. The last table read for the original script for Batman 2. They had a whole thing about him building a glider into his cape out of like an umbrella and all that kind of stuff.
Umbrella. But as we all know as children, umbrellas are the perfect way to stop yourself from falling. All kids have jumped off something with an umbrella and
I
just
genuinely
plummeted to the ground.
Did try that, yes.
And plummet to the ground. Well, Mary Poppins was alive.
Or in the Gilmore Girls, as Robin can attest, in that friggin' Logan and his rich people society.
Now, when you jumped off the roof, were you like, and as you realized gravity was happening, did you go, uh-oh?
That's something I need to bring up as well before we get on to the next bit, right? The way... Oh, my God. How do I even say this?
Well,
Batman flies to safety, but Freeze doesn't spot him until it's too late. Batman's coming towards him, and he just goes, uh-oh. That is the worst line yet. It's unbelievable.
Is that our Batman double take? Yeah. It's like this. Do they do double takes in this a lot?
Well, can I ask a question as well? Do you all think right? This does not sound like Arnold, right?
No, it's like, uh-oh.
Somebody else has dubbed it, yeah?
It's like,
Maybe.
but there's a,
Maybe they got the guy who plays Bane.
That's what it sounds like.
I had a weird bit of time though for like Arnie's cackle. Because it seems so genuine. He's having the proper, like, he's really cracking up. Like, I got him. I actually got him. And then for it to spin on a dime. For it to be like, that's a good performance. Oh, wait, no, that's terrible. Like, it's within literally a split second, it goes from
That's
like.
this movie in a nutshell. One amazing thing, one terrible thing.
Actually, we'll emphasize as well, just as a general Batman fan, that scenario of Mr. Freeze freezing the Batmobile as it's going over a building. Over, a gap between buildings, and Batman ejecting himself and gliding down to take him out. That is awesome.
Right.
It
looks
theory.
awesome, yeah.
It's a great idea. And it actually is, for the most part, kind of executed well. Like, the shot of him flipping out and, like, CGI and whatnot as it is. But it's just, they can't help themselves. It's like, yeah, you've got to follow it up with, It's a Cold Town was a low point. Then you had a high point. Now it's back down again. It is a literal roller coaster. This movie. I'm just
It's
like,
not
And then after a high point and a low point, they have to have a questionable point, and that's you're like the shot of his cape over. What did he do to freeze and then put his cape over him and then lift it off of him? Who is he presenting this to? Us, the viewer,
The Iron Chef judges.
Yeah.
there's a whole sequence there because Mr. Freeze is sitting in his car, and all of a sudden he's lying on the ground with his eyes open.
which means Batman either picked him up or he carried him like a baby and laid him down in front of his icicle car.
Can I be
Which
honest?
what I'm hoping is that he's presenting it to Robin. He looks across the way like, huh? And Robin's like, God damn you. He's like all mad he's like, what? I can't hear you. I took down the bad guy. I hate you so much.
It's like you're on the
be honest,
wrong
though?
side of the building.
Hey, Benny,
like
you're on
it.
the wrong side of the river.
I think it's quite cool. Like, I like that we don't see what he does. We just know, like, okay, he's kicked his head in. He subdued him.
Well,
It's
it's very Superman, Richard Donner. Superman in that first Superman movie when he's flying around the city doing his like nightly thing, and he takes care of the cat burglar and a couple other things.
Mm-hmm.
When the guys are in the boat hit him with the crowbar and it vibrates, the next scene we see is the boat's just sitting in front of the precinct. That's this scene. It's that very. We all know
but
he took care of
he's
it.
not fighting the arch villain of the movie. Like, there should be.
Yeah,
I think
I
if
know.
filmmakers were like, I don't know, we can't do a hand-to-hand fight between these two guys in their suits. Let's just
Because they can't
skip
move.
ahead.
It does feel a bit, as much as I love it, it does feel a bit that way. The way it's kind of just.
And the way he's standing,
It's the
with
end.
his feet together. Clooney's got his feet together.
It's like a good.
It's weird.
It's a kind of weird. It's almost like a quasi-religious painting. The way.
Oh,
the
it's
way
a
it is,
beautiful image. Like, if you make
Yeah.
a still of this, I want this on my wall.
I mean, this was definitely like what you would use in the promo shots in a thing.
And the
But
glow of the suit looks beautiful here.
Again, too, noted hack, Chris Nolan, stealing the whole routine of like, oh, they took out the main villains got captured midway through the movie. So what happens now? It says,
Midway, now the movie's over. He's caught the villain.
But what I would do here is quite simple. Him flying in to, and actually doing a very Superman-ish pose with the two friggin' fists coming out. Just cut there.
Noted
That's
hack
That's the end of the scene.
Batman
Just like-
ripped that off from Superman.
Noted hack.
Now I keep that. We'll be dealing with Chris Nolan in quite a lot of detail when we cover those movies. But
Yeah,
the
Robin's
amount
over
of-
there like, Superman did that before. Shut up. This is why Superman works alone. So no one will talk to him.
Well, again, it is probably going to be like, I said, I don't need you, kid. Look, I got him. Like holding up Mr. Freeze's head. Here he is. I freaking got the guy. Oh, although it is weird as well, though. That
How do you want me to get off this statue?
Can you turn my bike back on?
Turn my bike back on, please.
not only does the bike have to be turned back on, Batman has to unfreeze that car, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
And also, unless it's totally because again, that Alfred at the beginning of the movie says, "Try to bring this one back in one piece." Yet another Batmobile has to be destroyed by the end of the movie.
It's in one piece. It's just really cold.
Well, can I, this might be jumping ahead slightly, but I get the impression that this Batmobile, it's totaled. I get the vibe that the next one you see, that's a new one.
Sure
made
look
it home.
shiny.
Yeah, I don't think we see this like we see it in the obviously at the end of this minute, and it somehow makes it back to the Batcave, but I don't think it's ever in active duty again. So it's almost as if.
Did you notice though? I know this is also skipping ahead, but Robin's running up the steps toward it, which makes me go, "Oh my god, he did have to like find his way home."
Like Batman
It's just
hauled,
like,
he took the bike and then hauled the Batmobile back.
It's just
on the
him
back of
walking it slowly. 'Cause you can't just leave Bat Tech like out and about, strewn about Gotham. You got to like kind of take care. Either blow it up, burn it. There has to be some thing to take care of your Bat Tech. You don't want to leave it out where other people can get to it. So it's just him walking it back up that arm. He's like, oh, so and it's super slippery. That arm is made of metal. He's like, whoa.
See, I think it's broken. I think it's broken because we do, at the end of this minute, briefly get a glimpse at the Batcave. We cut back to that, and we see that Batman does have a car there, ready for action.
Mm.
But in my headcanon, that's a new one. That's the
So the thing, like
backup.
he remote control sent for another car to come out and get him, and then made Robin walk home.
Yeah. You can walk home and think about what you've done.
Yep.
Oh, it'd be cool if it was one of the old Batmobiles. And it's like, I had to take the old one, like the spare model back home. But
That's the perfect time to bring the 89 Batmobile in.
yeah.
Or give him back one of those bikes that Robin rode 2 movies ago.
Hell yeah.
Or last movie, I guess. It would be the last movie. Give him one of those nice ones. Oh, it's Alfred. Alfred had to go get him. All right, I know. I've already got McGregor syndrome, and I'll try and ride a motorcycle and go get Robin.
This is Alfred slumped over the wheel and Batman and Robin like arguing in the background. You're never going to trust me.
Hell yeah.
But we'll say, though, just in terms of, comic lore and whatnot, the fact that Mr. Freeze looks dead on the floor here, just thought I'd bring up the fact that in the early 90s, for quite a period of time, for a good 3 years, Mr. Freeze as a character was dead. He was actually killed off, and at the time seemed quasi, permanent. Well, the comic books, no one's ever dead, but
people thought that he was.
But in Robin 2, Joker's Wild 1, which is just a Robin spin-off comic, but it was about the Joker, so it was called Joker's Wild, which is a title they use way too much in every medium, basically.
The way you read it, it sounded like a football, soccer to you Americans score.
It's Robin 2, Joker's Wild 0. But yeah, that was the thing. And that Robin 2, Joker's Wild 1 from October 1991. Mr. Freeze was killed off, and the Joker attempted to take over the Joker's gang. The Joker actually kills him with a hand buzzer. Comes in and is like, "What the hell? You're taking my gang? No, I'm back." And then, much like he did with Antoine Rinelli from the first movie during the "It'll be a hot time" and the old. Actually grabs the hand, electrocutes Mr. Freeze to dead, and he's dead until January 1994. Notably, the episode Heart of Ice has aired between those 2 issues, obviously rejuvenating interest in Mr. Freeze to quite a bit. He's brought back then in Detective Comics 670, and the cover of that is fantastic because it's the John Paul Valley Batman confronting a resurrected Mr. Freeze, and he's got a big beard because he's been dead for so long, but it's icicles. Which is just makes no sense whatsoever, but just to see a guy with a beard of icicles when he's been dead for 3 years, I thought was pretty funny. But
I'm on board.
Yeah, thought I'd throw that in there though, because it does look bizarrely like Mr. Freeze is dead with Arnie lying like that. Unless he chloroformed him, or he friggin', I don't know, injected him with like a paralyzing agent or something. He did something under that cape. I just don't know what it is.
Oh.
But anyway, does anyone have any other minutes or any other notes for minute 51 in particular?
Nope, that was it for me.
Nah.
I just like seeing Freeze down for the count, like he's 3PO turned off.
But we'll say, because Batman and Robin is so reviled or acclaimed as one of the worst movies ever made, we are asking, much like the Mortal Kombat production company, acclaimed, we are asking the guests what they believe to be the worst film they've ever seen is. Now, we are talking about at least one guest who walked out of this movie in the cinema. So,
but you can't pick this one.
But yeah, do you guys have anything
Fair.
you would hold up as being the worst film you've ever seen?
Well, I always give things a chance. I'm always usually the one defending things. But I pulled up my Letterboxd because, I usually rate things that I watch. And according to Letterboxd, it's a tie between Rob Zombie's Halloween, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Fright Night 2, New Blood, Star Trek Nemesis, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Ooh. Wow. So I actually quite enjoyed Fright Night 2, but it is very much like, let's do the same movie over again with the guys going on the same exact journey. It's
No,
like,
I'm talking about the remakes sequel direct-to-video.
oh,
Because I like the original
thought
Fright Night 2, all right, but
that's fair. Oh, okay then, fair enough.
this one's awful.
Worst movie. I mean, if I'm not allowed to pick this one, worst movie. I mean, it would be like Green Card with Gerard Depardieu. These are movies that, like, in my mind, I remember them being bad. Like, and I'm just like, why did I see this in the movie theater? And I get mad. Like, I spent time there. One I saw at home. It's Gone with the Wind. At me, bro. At me, people. It's my wife and I to this day don't like that movie. So we were like, we need to watch it. We were in college. We were film students and stuff like that. I actually had seen like parts of it in my life, but we sat down like, let's watch the whole damn thing. And it got to the end. I went, the line that I've been waiting on the whole time is the last line of the movie. I'm like, I did not enjoy that.
Yeah,
movie.
I can agree. I found Gone with the Wind to be an ordeal. Yeah.
It's too long, but I don't think it's bad.
It's the epitome of.
It's not bad in that the writing is bad. It is an overblown production of a movie that I think got away from. I think the people involved were way too powerful at the time to make this movie, and it's a product of that time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
and it's just like, well,
I get it, but I am a fan of Lawrence of Arabia, which is kind of guilty of the same things.
I love long movies. Lawrence of Arabia is a wonderful movie.
The thing is, like, yeah, Gone with the Wind is. I remember seeing it as like one of those, public holiday, as if the TV programmers were like, we want the day off too. Let's put on Gone with the Wind for a good 4 hours.
Yeah, and Turner movies or whatever is like, we're going to put it on with no commercials the way it was meant to be seen.
Yeah.
It's like, I would rather have commercials.
Then afterwards it's like, you know what? Ben-Hur, put that on as well. That'll do another 3 hours.
At least Ben-Hur, you're like, yeah, at least there's someone to chariot every once in a while. Like, nothing happens in two of the three acts of Gone with the Wind. There's not a ton going on. You're like, whew, okay, well, I'm kind of waiting on stuff to happen.
Yeah.
I just find it overblown. So, I mean, some people, it's their favorite movie. I don't want to diss on it too much, but it's for me, I would consider that one of the worst movies I ever had to sit.
It was a fascinating choice because it's one that I would never have predicted.
But and to end things on a positive note, we also do ask the guests, because Batman Robin is equally beloved in certain circles, is there a movie that you really love that is considered quote unquote bad by the general populace?
Yes. It's easily, for me, it's between, I was thinking about this, like, I'm going to have to tie them. Hudson Hawk and Judge Dredd. I love both of those movies. I love them. I will watch them anytime they're on.
I get that. Totally. Like,
and people are like, those are the two worst movies. I'm like, I know they're terrible, and I still love them.
I think the Judge Dredd movie, it's like, it's a great Stallone movie. It's just like, if you're a real diehard for like the Judge Dredd comics, it's kind of like, well, it's hard to connect those two things. It's like, well, it's not a good adaptation, but it's a perfectly fine, 90s sci-fi Stallone movie.
But Hudson Hawk is, no one considers that movie good.
No.
Like, that is considered like one of the worst movies made, and I find it super charming, and I to this day will recite and quote Hudson Hawk.
yeah, I'd rather watch Hudson Hawk than a lot of films.
And I do find Hudson Hawk to be a bit of a chore to sit through. So,
totally understandable.
Yeah, although of course, written by Dan Waters, who of course wrote Batman Returns and yada yada yada. So, one of his many, like, beyond Heathers and Batman Returns, Dan Waters' career is a graveyard of questionable movies. And actually, having read his script for Batman Returns before it was revised, that would have also been disaster and delivered as he wrote it. So, but yeah, Robin, do you have a something to throw in the docket?
Yeah, Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Pretty awful.
Yes.
Yeah. Terrible villain. Gene Hackman walking in, walking out. Lenny Luthor. The fact that Mariel Hemingway pretty much kicks Margot Kidder out of the movie, but still, it's Christopher Reeve playing Superman. I can still just love it. Even the recycled flying shots that they're just to show the same shot over and over again. I still love it.
I love it.
I would have to go with Superman 3 with that one, because Superman 3 for me, I unapologetically watched that in the movie theater, and afterwards my dad was like, "That was terrible." I'm like, I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
at least
I know,
Superman 3
I know
tried
it's
to
terrible.
be a movie.
It's I know it's terrible. I know adding Richard Pryor was a huge mistake. But Superman 4 for me was just like, at that point I was old enough to be like, I'm not seeing this in the movie theater. There's no way it's good.
But no, because one of my favorite, the movie I always, stringently defend that everyone else seems to hate is Masters of the Universe, and that's obviously a canon production out the same year where they actually siphoned off money that was supposed to be spent on Superman Quest for Peace to spend it on Masters of the Universe.
Dare they?
Because that's the way canon films worked, was just like, well, raise money for one production, actually split it over about 5 productions.
Would our wonderful guest like to tell people one more time where they can be found online? This time, let's go with Jonathan. You can go first.
Sure. MissionImpossible.com. We're 3 seasons into the Mission Impossible movies. CastandtheFurious.com. You can also find us on all podcatchers. We do the movies of Fast and Furious 1 quarter movie at a time. Just finished 7, so we just said goodbye to Brian and Paul Walker. Had a great episode where we had a bunch of random people on. It was really hilarious. We had family. She had to have family, so we had 10 people all on one episode.
Hey, and if you're into
talking.
the family memes lately,
Yeah.
Oh, if you love the memes, if you've seen a family meme, definitely come listen to our show, because we talk about family just as much.
Yeah. Who had to say grace, though?
Everyone. Whoever speaks first has to say grace.
Hey, speaking of Chosen, I've also got a podcast.
Hey.
It's Karate. I'm sorry, I got to wrap things up. It's Karate Kid Minute. We're covering Karate Kid Part 2, and Chosen is the bad guy on that. And
Yeah. Oh, that was the perfect segue. Well, check all of that out, everybody, and come and check us out on all the usual, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just put in Bat Minute. We'll come up. We'll come up for more wonderful Batman and Robin action here on Bat Minute.
next time, a Rocky Robin relationship. There's tumultuous time for the Dark Knight and Teen Titan as gallant grievances lead to more fighting. But as this home-based bat spat makes a friendship fall flat, can a stalwart Chamberlain searching for a sibling spot where his brother's at? There's a temper tantrum in the inner sanctum. Next time, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.